Let's talk about Saloum. Saloum is a Senegalese French action horror movie. It's a crime horror thriller movie. Okay, it's about an elite trio of mercenaries. They're known as the Hyenas of Bunkie. So they just finished a job. They're flying from Guinea-Bissau, to Dakar, Senegal. They have plane trouble, and so they're forced to crash land in the Saloum Delta. They take refuge at a resort, and they quickly find them, like, they have to hide their identities, but they also have to survive the resort, essentially. It's directed and written by Jean-Luc Herbulot, and the story is by Jean-Luc Herbulot as well as Pamela Diop. It stars Yann Gael, Roger Salah, Mentor Ba, Evelyn Ely Juen, Bruno Henry, and more. Saloum is very cool. Like, it's a beautiful movie. The direction is interesting. They nail it with the suspense. They nail it with the tension. They nail it with the action part, the crime part. Unfortunately, when it comes to the horror part, I don't think they nail it. I hear action, horror. I'm expecting a marriage. I'm expecting like a blend. Instead, what I got was a clear delineation between the action part of the movie and the horror part of the movie. If this were just an action movie alone, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 stars. As an action horror, it didn't really meet the mark. This is another one where they lose me towards the end of the movie. There is a shift in the tone, and I was a child left behind. Like, I didn't connect. This is another one, just like his house, we needed more time. So I'm gonna split this review between the good and the bad. I don't usually do it like that, but that's how I'm gonna do it because that's the easiest way for me to talk about it. The good, the trio. So our main trio are Chaka, Midnight, and Rafa. They're all beautiful. They're all beautiful grown men. I loved their dynamic. They are clearly badasses. Like, that is telegraphed across the screen. I'll get to that when I talk about the bad. I love them as a trio. I love their banter with each other, their annoyances. I think the three characters had great chemistry. So to talk a little bit more about the plot, they crash land, and things are sus. Things are very, very quickly sus. They are pretending they are people that they are not, because of course they're mercenaries, so their identities are not known. But someone on the island, a woman named Awa, does suspect them. She suspects that they are the Hyenas of Bunkie. We find out why they're there, what happened to their plane, and Shaka was out for revenge, essentially. He had somebody in mind, he was looking for somebody, and that somebody was on the island. And there's a beautiful scene that it's so short, and they weren't building these guys as best friends. Like, they didn't have that kind of banter, but like, they're mercenaries. They do what needs to be done, and we don't know for how long they've been doing it, but they've built a reputation throughout Senegal, and so an international reputation, as a matter of fact. And so when the other two realize they learn what has happened to Chaka, what happened to him when he was a little boy. When he was a little boy, he was forced to be a child soldier and was abused and was sexually abused, and he gets his revenge. And there's a scene where, like, at first Rafa is pissed at him because, like, you brought us here, like, this was not an accident, and now shit's hitting the fan. And there's a scene where they hug, or like they put their foreheads together, like all three of them and it's just so beautiful. It is so unexpectedly touching, and I wanted more of that. From that scene, we should have then gotten to see them be the badasses that they are, because we don't really get to see them in their full element. We have the beginning of the movie, but I wanted to see more of them working in tandem and seeing those skills in action as they fight the spirits that are on the island. Yes, they fought their way out, but it was just so quick. I did not like the direction, the way the scenes were shot when it came to them fighting those things, and those things made my skin crawl. They were so nasty. This was the first movie in this list, and the only movie in this list that, well, I talked about like my stomach being tight and stuff, but like I had a physical reaction every time I saw those things. Like, well done with the CGI where that's concerned, because like I was feeling it in my body. I think Chaka is a great character. He gets the most shine out of all three of them. I wish the other two, we had gotten to know a little bit more about them over the course of the movie. If only we had more time. I think in that sense, we could have made better use of, especially the second half, once all hell broke loose. Literally, we could have gotten to know the other two a bit more. Love the languages in this movie. We have Wolof, we have French, we have sign language, we have Spanish, and we have a little bit of sprinkling of English. Loved that. Like I said, the suspense with Awa seemingly knowing something about them, the arguments in sign language, because if you haven't seen this, she's not deaf, she's mute. The arguments in sign, like, it was just, I had never seen something like that before, and I loved it. But the tension with what she knows and her threatening to expose them, and that scene, the first climax, the best climax in the movie, where we learn everything. Like, we learn the truth about why they're there, and we learn about Chaka's background. Very well done. Loved that. And that dinner scene is, after that, when all hell breaks loose, the movie goes south. The bad is the horror element. Once everything goes south, I feel that it's rushed. It's rushed. We literally get an exposition scene that I can barely understand. I mean, I have the subtitles, but it is still an information dump about about Garasina Bana's curse, a king, I believe, who was beheaded, and so that like spawned a curse. And so the man who was killed, Omar, he made a deal with the spirits that he could have the island at his own little, like, not to be crass, but like his own little Epstein Island, where he was holding these boys hostage in a cell, and in exchange for allowing him to do that, he was like their gatekeeper. That part needed more developing. It needed more developing. I needed more details. I needed to know more about how that works. Like, why do the spirits need a gatekeeper? Yeah, they just got, first of all, I was surprised to see that the spirit thingies were susceptible to like gunshots and machetes. There's a part where they say, as the guy's explaining, saying, they devour your senses one by one. Taste, smell, sight, hearing, sound, until there's nothing left. I really wish that we would have seen that. I wish that one by one, we could have seen, like with the guests, people be killed via sight, hearing, sound, etc. We didn't get to see that. Midnight got off screen. When we see him again, he's holding them back because he's so strong spiritually. It was ham-fisted, is the best way to describe it. I like the theme. Like the lesson was that your revenge will swallow you whole. They have the quote at the beginning and the end of the movie that says, revenge is like a river whose bottom is reached only when we drown. And we lose Chaka. I don't mind the main character dying. I actually like that in horror movies, but I don't think it was earned. I don't think it was earned. I don't like the way the theme was executed. I think it came too quick. And then we never learned what Awa's deal is. Why was she on the island? Why did she need help escaping? Was she also a prisoner? She's a woman. She went from being very mysterious and very interesting to being nothing at all. It has so much potential. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 because it's so interesting to watch, but I didn't like the wrap up.